The Finnish word sisu cannot be translated into any other language. It is one of the most strongly held values that we Finns hold, and it roughly means acting rationally and with resolve when facing adversity. If I had to sum it up in one word, it would be grit. And it is the word that we Finns use to define our spirit. It could be taken as similar in meaning to Nike's slogan, just do it. My mum and dad are from a small Swedish-speaking minority from Finland, accounting for only 6% of my country's population. And I strongly identify as a Swedish-speaking Finn. Although I've never lived in either country, sisu is the personal value that I try to live my life by. With all the changes that have taken place in my life, my sisu has remained a constant, fundamental component of who I am and who I hope to continue to be. In some ways, I've always been a cultural outsider, as I'm actually the product of 5 distinct cultures, having been born in London, raised by Swedish-speaking Finns, moved to Hong Kong, and taught in a Canadian educational system, until moving to Pepperdine here in America. Home has thus meant a number of different things, but my most treasured value is still sisu, from the home that I've never known firsthand. I'd been educated since age 4 at a traditionally British school where strict behaviour and rote learning was strongly emphasised. And I had thrived there as a quiet Finnish boy. When I was 5, my dad took me to my first Chelsea football match, which ignited a lifelong passion for sports, and football especially. Little did I know that my life was about to change drastically. I was shocked when my dad told me we were off to Hong Kong in 2011, uprooting me from the very European environment that I had grown up with and been used to adapting to a very different Asian environment in Hong Kong. I grew up used to London's grey and rainy skies and arrived to Hong Kong where the humidity was often over 90%. But what really stood out to me was the incredible density, the loud noises, the pungent smells, and just the sheer number of people. The prospect of leaving behind everything and everyone that I had known, including my family, friends, London, and of course my beloved Chelsea, was terrifying. Although not fully grasping the concept at age 11, I tried to find my inner sisu and approached the move as a rare and exhilarating opportunity. During my first day of school in Hong Kong, my pale skin and blonde hair stuck out sorely, even at my new Canadian international school, where I found that I was 7 years behind my other classmates in learning Chinese. The impact of our move was most keenly reflected in the challenges I faced in my schoolwork in learning Chinese. Despite not having to speak Chinese at this international school, I felt that it would be a waste of an opportunity to let this go by. I was determined to catch up, but it seemed like an impossible task. The characters confused me, the absence of any familiar grammatical rule was jarring, and all the 4 tones sounded the same. Shortly after my first Mandarin class, I also found out that the character ma, using different tones, could either refer to your mother or a horse. Hence, I considered many times just switching to another language, but I chose not to, despite the positive impact that it would likely have on my grades. I wanted to prove to my family, my friends, and myself that I did have the sisu to learn this daunting language. Now, to accomplish this, I realized that I needed much more practice than regular classes could ever offer me. And so the grind began. I imagined that I was a boxer, like Rocky Balboa, in a training montage, working tirelessly day and night, trying to reach the end game, which to me was to be able to speak Mandarin at a conversational level after graduating high school. I started visiting my Chinese teacher every week for extra help so that I could approach the same level as my peers. And I attended multiple month-long Chinese immersion trips in Beijing, which forced me to cope in a Mandarin-only environment. Now I'm proud to say that I am a fluent speaker of Swedish and English, and a hard-won, almost proficient speaker of Mandarin. Now to most of you, I'm sure you won't have heard of sisu before. So why does sisu matter? And how does it apply to yourselves? Well, sisu can mean many things and can be used in many ways in our lives. For some of us, it can mean the recklessness that inspires you to take on something in the face of incredible odds. To others, it can mean finishing what you started, that you don't give up in the middle of it all. For me, sisu means determination, strength, and courage to do things at the best of my ability, regardless of the challenges that I may face. Looking back at all the major events and experiences in my life, like moving across the world multiple times, adapting to new cultures, learning Mandarin, and facing what life throws at me head on, I know that in the future, my CISO will help me embrace new homes and hopefully become a valued member of different communities. Like my dad once told me, it doesn't take Cecil to go to the North Pole. It takes Cecil to stand at the door when the bear is on the other side. Thank you.